Thanks for tuning in to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And we're talking the schedule. The National Football League schedule has become such a big deal. And what about the Cincinnati Bengals schedule? We knew it was going to be difficult. When you win your division, you win the AFC Championship game, and you go to the Super Bowl, you're going to play a good, tough schedule. I mean, the National Football League makes it that way. It's the competitive balance type thing. The team that has the worst records, they end up getting the breaks in the schedule. The team that have the best records end up playing a tougher schedule. It's just a competitive balance type thing, and they try to keep everybody as close to 500 as they possibly can. So the Cincinnati Bengals are definitely going to be challenged. In the AFC North, it's as tough a division as there is in the National Football League. I think everybody understands that. The Bengals' first goal, forget going back to the Super Bowl, their first goal has to be win the AFC North. I mean, if you win the AFC North, you have your ticket punched automatically as a playoff participant. That is going to be the key. And the division is tough. The networks realize the division is tough. Every road game in the division the Bengals have is on national television. That tells you something. It's interesting to me, too, though. You have Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh road games on network national television. Then you have games like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes aren't on network national TV. Now, they're piggyback games of a doubleheader. They're going to get major eyeballs. There's no question about that, and listenership. But why wouldn't they want Joe Burrow going against these guys? I think it's simple. I think that when you have Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, if you have Tom Brady in a game, he's going to draw an audience anyway. Why waste having Joe Burrow matching up with Tom Brady in that national televised game? I think they want to space all these great quarterbacks out as much as they can instead of putting them head to head. It's almost like you're wasting an opportunity to have another big game with one of these marquee quarterbacks on a national television. And let's face it, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, those are marquee names at the quarterback position as well. So Joe Burrow playing those quarterbacks on national network road AFC North games, that's a good competitive environment. That's going to draw a nice little matchup for national television. But it's interesting. It's very interesting the way the networks come up with how they're going to put together these matchups and try to figure it all out. It's going to be a big, huge jigsaw puzzle. Okay, with that said, the Bengals, they're going to have to go at least 3-3 in the division to even hope to have a playoff opportunity. Last year, they went 4-2. They swept Baltimore, they swept Pittsburgh, and they get swept by the Cleveland Browns. So let's talk about what they're going to have to do, in my mind, down the stretch, the gauntlet, the meat grinder, whatever you want to call it, in the final 8 games of the season. The Bengals play 9 games, have a bye. And then the final 8 games of the season, you have the 3 division opponents in that 8-game stretch. Let's talk about the other 5 games that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to have to just grind away at in order to qualify for the playoffs. You know, my thinking is, say they go 6-3 in the first half of the season. They're going to have to go at least 4-4 over the final 8 games of the season to have a playoff shot. I think you got to think 10 wins to win the division. That's what won the division last year. It's going to be competitive. They're going to be knocking each other off. You know, will the AFC North have a wild card team? Don't know. So if the Bengals can handle their division matchups on a 500 basis, let's look at the other 5 games in the 8-game gauntlet, the 8-game meat grinder stretch in the second half of the 2022 schedule. Tennessee Titans at Tennessee. Mike Vrabel, after the playoff loss that the Tennessee Titans experienced, I just so happened to be leaving the stadium the same time Mike Vrabel was, walking behind him, just like 2 or 3 steps behind him, and he was not happy, obviously. and I could tell a lot of things were playing through his mind, and he got to his car, threw his bag in the back of his car, opened the car door. I said, I have a great off-season, coach, and he just mumbled something, slammed the door. I mean, he right away, right now, he's looking forward to this game. Right now, as the schedule came out, November 27th, week 12, 1 o'clock in Tennessee, I'm going to be playing against the Cincinnati Bengals, those darn Cincinnati Bengals. And I thought one of the big keys to the football game was the way they controlled the running game. Henry did not get off like he's capable of getting off against a football team. Bengals really did a good job. DJ Reader controlled the middle of the football field. Everybody in the front seven did a nice job controlling Derrick Henry in the running game. They just did not let him get untracked. I thought that was a huge key to success in that football game. And then, obviously, a success that they did have, 9 quarterback sacks. Vrabel is very, very clever defensively. He has some different looks and different packages, different personnel groupings. And he basically, gave the Bengals a lot of problems from a pass protection standpoint with Joe Burrow. 9 quarterback sacks. He's going to try to at least maintain that type of a situation off the edge against the Bengals. So it's going to be very interesting. Will the Tennessee Titans be able to defend their home turf against the Cincinnati Bengals? Will it's going to be a different Derrick Henry, a much more healthy Derrick Henry, and we've seen what he can do when he is healthy. Although you can't guarantee it. We're talking November 27th. He may not be as healthy as we think. Who knows? But that's going to be an interesting matchup. And then the very next week, the Kansas City Chiefs have lost 2 straight games to the Bengals now. Lost in Kansas City and in Cincinnati. And they had big leads in both of the football games and couldn't hold on. In my mind, the biggest thing that blew my mind against the Kansas City Chiefs, when the Bengals held the Chiefs to 50 yards offense in the second half, and Lou Anarumo did such a good job of utilizing different looks from a personnel standpoint, not necessarily substituting, but using his positionless players strategically and the versatility that they had. One time, Sam Hubbard's an edge rusher. Another time, he's a spy. One time, Logan Wilson's an edge rusher. Another time, he's at linebacker. He's got, safeties playing nickel corner. All this position versatility. Rushing 3, dropping 8. Really, Patrick Mahomes never got a handle on what the Bengals were trying to get done. The thing that shocked me is Andy Reid never really tried to run the football against that 3-man front. And they were dropping 8 guys and trying to confuse Patrick Mahomes. The fact that they didn't try to get a running game established kind of blew my mind a little bit. So the Kansas City Chiefs have lost 2 in a row to the Cincinnati Bengals after having 2 and 3 score leads in those football games. That one on December 4th, it's going to be big. What's going to happen in that encounter? The Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they get rid of Tyreek Hill. That's a different football team right now. Then let's go to December 18th, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 4:25 kickoff. Tom Brady, Joe Burrow. Tom Brady's on the back 9. Joe Burrow hasn't even come close to making the turn yet in his career. There's 19 years difference in age between these two guys. Are you kidding me? That's a freshman in college, a 19-year-old kid. 19 years difference between these two guys. One has seen everything, and one is just even though he hasn't seen as much as Tom Brady, he is a football savant. Both these guys have so much in common. They are both football savants. They both have a blue-collar work mentality. They're both grinders. They're both the first guys in the building, the last to leave. They're both unbelievable leaders for their football teams. They're both very, very humble. They understand that every component of the team is vitally important to the success of the offense. So both of these guys are going to be. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this football game. But the supporting cast, who's going to have the best supporting cast? That's going to be the interesting dynamic. At Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The other thing, and I've experienced this as a player, when you're talking December 18th, maybe it's been cold for a few days up here in Cincinnati. and your blood's thickened up a little bit. Now you have to go down to Tampa Bay, and it might be a little bit toasty down there. And that might be a factor. That might be a little element that you have to deal with. Now, the weather dynamic, I think, is, maybe a small, minuscule key to the outcome of the football game. It's going to be determined by the level of play of the performers. Man, I can't wait to watch the killer bees go at each other. Burrow and Brady. That's going to be an awesome football game. And then the New England Patriots, December 24th, Christmas Eve day. I don't care what the situation is. Bill Belichick is going to give you everything and more. He is going to empty his preparation bucket. He is incredible in terms of giving you, from a game plan standpoint, something totally different on a week-to-week basis. I mean, he really prides himself on having players on his roster that can allow him to do that from a versatility standpoint. The New England Patriots, Christmas Eve day. The weather could be a problem up there as well. Just the opposite of Tampa Bay. You may go from kind of warm weather down there in Tampa Bay the very next week to frigid conditions on Christmas Eve up in Foxborough. I know what those winters can be like up in that area. It's going to be a very, very intriguing football game from a coaching standpoint, from an execution standpoint in terms of players performing maybe in adverse conditions. There's so many elements here. That New England Patriot game could be massive. And the thing is, a lot of these games we're talking about, the Tennessee Titans, the Kansas City Chiefs, you're talking New England Patriots, and the final one I'm going to talk about, the Buffalo Bills. Those are 4 AFC opponents. That's key in tiebreaker scenario. The division record is a first and foremost tiebreaker key. The next is conference record. So for these 5, the only one that's not is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So theoretically, the one that you can afford to stub your toe on potentially would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, being from the NFC. You don't want to stub your toe on any of them, but theoretically that might be the best option. But then the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football, man, just one heck of a battle here in Cincinnati. And you look at it, you have 2 young stars at the quarterback position. We've talked about the quarterback position in the AFC. I mean, there's like a dozen outstanding quarterbacks in the AFC. A lot of them have come from the NFC to the AFC. Russell Wilson with the Denver Broncos, Herbert out there, with the LA Chargers. The Bengals don't play these guys, but they play a ton of quarterbacks that have Pro Bowls to their credit, Super Bowls to their credit, and potential Hall of Fame candidates. And Allen is another one that fits that mold. His size, his ability to move, his ability to run, his escapability in the pocket, big, strong arm guy, can make every throw, can do it accurately. And again, the thing that to me is a big key, defensively, they're a snootful. I mean, they didn't play well in the classic against the Kansas City Chiefs, where it was a scoring fest. Neither team could stop each other. During the course of the regular season, the Buffalo Bills were number 1 in the NFL in a bunch of statistical categories. So those 5 games, the Bengals have 8 games after the bye week that are going to determine whether they're going to be in the playoffs again this year or not. The 3 division games, you're talking Cleveland, you're talking Pittsburgh, you're talking Baltimore. But what's going to happen with the other 5? At Tennessee, November 27th. Kansas City in Cincinnati, December 4th. Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road down in Tampa Bay on December 18th. The New England Patriots on Christmas Eve day, the 24th in New England. Those back-to-back games right there at Tampa Bay, at New England. It's going to be very interesting and very big, determining the level of success in the 2022 season. Then finally, Buffalo Bills come to Cincinnati on January 2nd. So, man, from November 27th to January 2nd, literally, a little over a month, November 27th to January 2nd. Big factor in determining the outcome of the season, 2022 season, in terms of, will the Bengals be able to defend their title in the AFC North, then defend their title in the AFC Championship game, and then maybe go win a Super Bowl. It's going to be fun. The schedule's out. The schedule's a challenge. And just like every year, the variable you can't control is injury. It's just, the Baltimore Ravens are a great example of it last year. 19 guys finished the season on injury reserve, including quarterback Lamar Jackson. A lot of starters, a lot of very important players. That's the biggest key, the biggest variable. Staying healthy. Gotta stay healthy. Knock on wood.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Breaks? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right. You know,
gotta get that body right. That's right. Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out firststarlogistics.com.